In this video, I'm going to show you how to use font awesome icons as pseudo elements. Let's get started. So if you're new to my channel, I make videos on UX, UI design, and front-end coding. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a comment down below so I know what kind of tutorial you would like to see next. So jumping right into it, I'm opening up a CodePen project. At the top of the page, I have the HTML, which has a head tag with a link of several fonts that I'm going to use. And then I also have the link to Font Awesome right here in my header. And then I have body tags, which are empty. In the CSS, I declared some color variables in the root, and then set some basic styling with a box sizing set to border box, set the font family, and a margin and padding to 0. So to get started, first I will define the entire structure with HTML, and then I will apply all of the styling with CSS. So first in my HTML, I'm going to create a class of card, and this will essentially wrap the entire element. And within that card class, I'm going to create another div called card content, and this will essentially hold all the text that's in the card. From there, I'm going to create an h2 element with a class of card header. And I'm just going to write our services as the title. And beneath that, I want to include a list of all the services that this company provides, so I'm going to create an unordered list with a class of card list. Then in that unordered list, I'm going to have several list items, and they are going to have a class of card item. So I'm just going to duplicate this several times. So this is how the website looks with hardly any styling. I just have the header and then the list beneath it. So now I'm going to style it using CSS so it looks a little bit better. So in the CSS, first I'm going to declare certain properties for the body. So in the body, first I'm going to make the height of it 100% of the viewport height. I'm going to set this display of this to grid. I'm going to justify the content and align the items in the center so that way this card will definitely be in the center of the screen. So I'm going to add a linear gradient to the background and then set the color to a dark gray. And then I'm going to add some styling to the actual card element. So first I'm going to set the background to white. Then I'm going to add a box shadow around it. Then I want to reduce that harsh edge, so I'm going to add a border radius of 0.5 rem. I'm going to set the position of this to relative. I'm going to set a minimum width size. And then I'm going to text align the center and add a bit of padding to add some breathing room. Next, I'm going to work on the card header. And for this card header, I want to add a little bit more breathing room, so I'm going to add a margin, top and bottom of 1 rem, 0 left and right. Then I'm going to set the font size of this to 2 rem so it gets a little bit bigger. I'm going to actually apply a different font family to this because I wanted to have a different styling. So I already have this font in my header and I'm just going to reference it here. And I want the color of this to be different as well, so I'm going to reference a different color variable. Next, I'm going to work on the actual card list. So first I'm going to set a margin around it and then I'm going to set a list style to none. So next, I'm going to work on the styling of the actual list items. So I want every single list item, instead of having a bullet in front of it, have a different icon in front of it. So that's why I'm going to use pseudo elements for the list items. So first, I'm going to reference the class of card item, which is assigned to each list item. And I'm going to apply certain properties to this. So I'm going to set a margin here as well to 2 rem. I'm going to set the font size of this to 0.9 rem. I'm going to text align and set it to the left. So this is how it looks so far. Next, I'm going to actually add the pseudo element in front of it. So in order to do that, first I'm going to reference that class of card item and then add a before element to it. So that means before every single element with a class of card item, there will be this element added to the HTML before it. So with pseudo elements, you need to have a content tag, and you usually have to specify exactly where you want it to be placed. So for this content tag, I'm going to add a specific code, and this is in reference to the exact icon that I want to use from Font Awesome. So right now we don't see anything because we're not referencing the font family of Font Awesome, but essentially it will be displayed right here. So in order to reference Font Awesome, I'm going to add a font family to this, and the name of the font family that I'm using is Font Awesome 5 Free. So this will depend on whichever library that you're using, but since I'm using this library, I'm referencing it here. And again, above in the HTML, I already referenced this exact library. So it's acting just like a regular font. Then I'm also going to specify a font weight. I'm going to add a font size. I'm going to set a different color of this. I'm going to set the position of this to relative. I'm going to vertically align this in the middle, so that way the text is better aligned with the icons. And then I need to add a little bit of breathing room between the icon and the actual text, so I'm going to add a margin right of 1 rem. So there you go, that's all you need to do to add some Font Awesome icons to your page using pseudo elements. So just to review what I did, in the HTML I have a link to the Font Awesome library that I'm actually using in the project. And for every single item in the list, I added the class of card item and applied certain properties to it. And then for each card item, I added a before pseudo element where the content of it was the actual icon name from the library that I'm using, and then I applied certain properties like the weight and the size. So there you go, that's how you can use Font Awesome icons as pseudo elements. Please let me know if you have any questions on the topic, and subscribe to stay up to date with my latest content. Thanks for watching!